We're here to provide an update on the search for the missing person case of Jaylen Griffin. With me is the acting district attorney of Erie County, Mike Kane, Karima Morris with the Bury the Violence, my deputy commissioners, first deputy commissioner Al Wright, Dawn Kent, chief of detectives, Craig Macy, and special victims unit detective Joel Benz. So an update on the Jaylen Griffin missing person case. So Jaylen was reported missing on August 6, 2020. Through the investigation, Jaylen was last reported to be seen on August 4th, 2020 in the vicinity of his home. The case was handled by the Buffalo Police Department Special Victims Unit. Our Special Victims Unit handles, among other investigations, they handle all missing person cases within the city of Buffalo. They conducted that investigation that began immediately, which included a significant amount of and exhaustive efforts, searching numerous homes, locations, searching with cadaver dogs, fields. They also conducted coordinated grid searches within the city of Buffalo and in areas outside of the city of Buffalo. We followed up on every tip that came in, including multiple psychics that called in tips, spoke with our detectives, and even based off of those tips, we searched all of the areas that were included based on what those psychics said in an effort to leave no stone unturned. And again, they followed up absolutely every single tip. The department also worked with community groups. We know community groups were working independent of the police department, conducting their own searches, putting their own flyers out, and we appreciate the efforts that they put out there. We also provided recently a Crime Stoppers flyer, which you can see on the front of the podium back about less than 2 months ago, about a month and a half ago. Well, we're also working with numerous missing persons clearinghouse organizations, having Jaylen's information input into those organizations. But unfortunately, our search came to an end on Friday, a little after 10 o'clock in the morning in the 100 block of Sheffield Avenue, where 8 district officers responded to a report of a dead body in the home. Our homicide squad was called to the scene, conducted their investigation, and working with the medical examiner's office, it was quickly put together that the investigation was going to merge with the search conducted by our special victims unit. The body that was located in the house had been there for a significant amount of time. I cannot provide a time frame on that. The ME's office cannot provide a time frame on that. I'll just leave it that it was up there in the house for a considerable amount of time, or at least found in a condition that shows that he had been deceased for a considerable amount of time. Through the use of dental records, today, Jaylen was positively identified to be that of Jaylen Griffin, and unfortunately, it was found exactly 1 week before his 16th birthday. First and foremost, I do want to extend my sincere sympathies to the family of Jaylen. Again, this department has conducted extensive searches, and I want Jaylen's family to know that we are working diligently. We will continue to work diligently to bring the next closure for the family. The first closure was finding Jaylen and bringing him home, and now we are going to conduct another round of investigations with our homicide squad, continuing work with the special victims unit so that we can bring a next level of closure. We have worked with numerous law enforcement agencies on this case, to include the state police, the FBI. There were other agencies that performed other functions with the use of their cadaver dogs and other technologies. And again, as I said, with the numerous missing persons clearinghouse organizations as well, there's a host of organizations and groups and people that have been diligently searching for over 3.5 years to find Jaylen. And unfortunately, the result is not what we wanted. But we did bring Jaylen home, and we will continue to work this. So I'm now going to turn this over to the acting district attorney, Mike Kane, for some comments.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will join in Commissioner Gramalia's expression of sympathy and our deepest condolences for the family of Jaylen. This is a young boy. He's 15 years old. This is a tragedy, and it's a terrible way to bring this search to a conclusion. This now begins a homicide investigation. As you know, it's our policy not to discuss any great detail on active investigations, but our investigation is beginning today. Now that it's been confirmed by the medical examiner to be a homicide, The medical examiner will do a thorough and complete investigation, which will include an autopsy. That could take months. We expect it's going to take months. That's going to, hopefully reveal to us some forensic evidence that is going to be significant in the investigation. And, that's where the investigation is going to go from here. So I don't have a whole lot to add other than, again, just to restate my sympathies in our office's condolences to the family.
All right, next I'm going to bring up Kareem Morse with buried violence.
Thank you. From the family of Jaylen Griffin, they would like to thank everyone for their input and effort to diligently work and get him home, to Detective Bentz and Detective Weber, who came on and finalized this to give us closure as to where Jaylen was. Also, we would like to thank Detective Harzak, who came prior to them, and Commissioner Vermaglia, who I started out with when my niece was murdered. And this is where we're gonna close the chapter. We will still be meeting at Memorial Drive for Jaylen's 16th birthday memorial now service, 6 p.m. At the Paderewski Circle Memorial Drive. Thank you so much, and please keep the family in your prayers.
So, as I said, this investigation has been going on for over 3.5 years. It's been an exhaustive investigation by several members of the Special Victims Unit. They really put everything they had into this investigation and worked it very hard, and I thank them for all the work that they have done. It's the work that they have done that is allowing the homicide squad a significant advancement in the beginnings of their investigation. This will be a joint investigation by both squads, and as I said, we're going to work very diligently on this, and I thank all the detectives and Special Victims Unit for the amount of work they put into this. This is nothing short of a tragedy for a 12-year-old boy to go missing, and for it to end this way. This is an absolute tragedy. It's very sad. It's very hard to get through this press conference, but we have work to do. And
an absolutely sickening tragedy. You guys hear that news there? A 12-year-old kid who had went missing in Buffalo. He was missing for 3.5 years, was found deceased. Police are saying it seems he had been deceased for quite some time. Stay tuned at the end of the video. We're going to have some more clips where the press asked some questions during this press conference, and some of what I'm speaking on is going to tie into that. So make sure to stay tuned for that part and comment your thoughts. But it's so scary. We know there's these evil predators out there, and I'm just this stuff that nightmares are made out of, as a parent or just a person in this society, knowing that evil is out there. I always telling my kids, man, don't talk to strangers. Like, really, for real, listen, that's not just some cliche thing you hear where, you know what I mean? Like, some things in life often you hear so much and people are just like, oh, like it's this routine thing. And I'm like, no, for real, son, listen, I tell them, I keep it real with them. You know what I mean? It may sound like dark to speak that way with a kid, but I just try to really let them know the real and the truth. And hey, there's these sick, evil creeps out there that will abduct you and kill you. They're demons and they walk this earth. And, hearing this news, unfortunately, it seems my guess, theory on this is some sick creep snatched the kid up and, killed them, among other things, which obviously I'm not going to speak on, but you guys know what I mean. That's what always seems to happen in these situations. Some sick PERV murdering demon abducts the kids and then they kill them. And another thing too, I always tell my kids also, like, if anyone ever does try and approach them or anything like that, yell at the top of your lungs, scream, flip out, like we see in movies or we've heard of people in real life who were abducted and live to tell about it, people will always try to grab the person up and say, if you make any noise or you do this or that, I'm going to kill you. You know, it's like they're going to kill you anyways. They're just trying to manipulate you. That's the last chance you have to alert and get some help. Otherwise, no one, you know, you just disappear and no one knows. And unfortunately, that's what happened in this situation. Is this kid, you know, who was said to be a 12-year-old kid who was known in the neighborhood. There was a couple stores around the way, and he would help people carry their bags, you know, hustle some change and stuff like that. A good kid that was known in the neighborhood. And he told his mom, hey, I'm going to take my puppy out for a walk. And he was never seen again. So seemingly, you know, that's exactly what happened. Some evil PRED was watching and snatched him up. And where he was found is only 5 miles from his house. Like I said, in this attic. I want, like, they better catch this monster. They really better, man. And I'm not trying to ish on the police, but the police said something in this video comment. If you guys remember during the beginning part of the press conference, again, stay tuned to the end. We're going to have the finale of the press conference along the lines of, you know, our long, exhaustive effort, or something alluding to like that they found him, but it doesn't sound like they did. It sounded like someone who was at this house, again, a non-resident who had a valid reason to be there. For me, I'm thinking maybe it was someone doing work on this dwelling, found the kid in the attic. And I'm not saying, you know, the police didn't do their job or whatever. You heard they had cadaver dogs and had been looking for the kid and everything like that. But the family was let down that their child was killed. But ultimately, he was probably killed within the same day or so. I think, you know, they're speaking, you know, that he was identified by dental records, and the condition of his remains were just that he had been deceased for a very long time. And they also will elaborate, and again, those clips are coming at the end, that the homicide, why they've ruled it as a homicide, they can tell by his remains as well. But the family wasn't able to have their kid found, but you better find out who did this, you know, because they're saying this home, and that's the thing, in Buffalo at least, right? And it's probably like this some other places as well, you know, in a lot of just residential neighborhoods, depending on what part of town it is. Where I'm hearing this was in this area in South Buffalo, a lot of houses are multi-unit dwellings, right? So it might be 3 or 4 apartments in the house, 2 on each floor, sometimes an apartment in the attic, or, you know what I mean? And they're saying that this house, and again, I don't know if that is a multi-unit dwelling and multiple tenants or families live there, or it's just one house. They're saying whoever it was, like people that moved in and out a lot over the years, but that they said that there was police activity known to be at that house. So, I mean, with all the resources that the police have and everything, they should be able to crack this case and solve this case and track down the evil piece of garbage that did this. And they better, you know what I mean? Like the family was expressing, the father, he wasn't even notified by the police right away. He was finding out through the news and stuff like that and was pissed off, and rightfully so. I actually know someone who had a child missing for 3 months, and thank God their child was brought home alive. And it was a different situation. It was kind of more like a runaway or whatever. And they had an idea where the child was for those months. And the missing persons people really were not much help at all. The detectives, they were actually very disgruntled and upset with that department. You know, they were kind of cocky and more or less didn't care because the child left on their own willingly and crossed state lines. So they just kind of acted like, it's whatever, you know. And to be honest, just didn't even sound quite motivated to find the kid at all. It was a real messed up situation, but Homeland Security got involved, and other groups out there that are like nonprofits that look for missing kids, who really put in work. They have informants. They have people that go on social media, you know, that have accounts that have been going forever, that are like decoy accounts, and they're able to really put in work that way and you know, find results. And God bless those people that do that work, because again, this is, you know, a different situation than what we're talking about with this kid, as we're talking about a child that ran away. But, you know, often a lot of these kids that run away could be manipulated or groomed into it. Or, I mean, bottom line, they're a minor. They don't have, you know, the legal say so to up and do something like that. But it's a messed up situation, and it happens a lot. And just what I'm trying to get at is the results of what would be going on in that kind of situation. To find a missing kid is not as much as you would think it is, you know, at least in the situation that I'm speaking of, that I know someone, you know, that went through this. But those groups that put in that work, like, God bless those people in those groups. They truly are saints. And when their kid was found, the detectives never even told them. They found out from, you know, these volunteer and nonprofits and stuff like that, not even from law enforcement. It was absolutely sickening. You know, so the dad's like, what the fuck? Why didn't they tell me? How does this make sense? And then to top it off, a little while, this happened back in 2020. Again, the kid was 12 years old. He would be just turning 16. A couple months after, his brother was killed, shot in front of the house, and the mother died in this time period as well. So I don't know if it's just the father, if there's other family as well, but I mean, can you imagine the way that this guy feels? There's so much loss in that family and all that. And then the police, you know, find this out, and they don't even tell you. You have to find out from the news or from someone else calling you and saying your son was found 5 miles away in this attic and he was murdered. It's so fucked up, man. Prayers out to that, man. Like, everyone put some good prayers or good vibes, you know, spiritually or whatever you believe. Let's put some good vibes out there and prayers for that father and that family and this young man whose soul had passed on years ago. Just terrible, just truly nightmarish-ish. And this stuff is horrible to hear. But as I always say, like, real talk, it's important to pay attention to this stuff and remind everyone out there of, you know, precautions to take in our life and everything, you know, like in talks that we need to have with our family members and whatnot, you know, because we all go through, like, the journey of life is crazy. Stress of paying bills, working, trying to get by, etc. Like, you know, so often as humans, we get out of touch with what's important or what we need to think about because we're just, you know, barely getting by or whatever, or we're stressed out, and it affects a lot, you know. So when you see this stuff, it reminds you of those talks that you need to have, you know. I'm telling you, everyone out there, go over that with your kids or, you know, your nephews, nieces, whatever, your loved ones, your family. Have those conversations, you know, show them this case, let them know. I mean, like I said, some people look at that like that's messed up to have that kind of conversation with a kid. But me personally, I'm just like, man, I don't want to pull any punches with that. I want them to understand what the reality is of these evil demons that are out there. But rest in peace to this young man, Jaylen Griffin. Again, thoughts and prayers out to the family and Buffalo Police Department. Get on your job. You know, they're saying they're already interviewing people and everything. Again, I'm about to go to these clips. You know, the press asking questions to the police. But let me know your thoughts, and stay tuned for updates. Like, for real, it sounds like, based on the information and everything, the police should be able to bust this case wide open and put this evil demon in jail, in prison, locked up for life, where they belong. But stay tuned for updates. Subscribe to the channel, again, for updates on this and as well other true crime news. Like the video. Obviously, we do not like this, but this is something that needs to get out there more, you know, that helps it algorithmically. But here is the remainder of the press conference. Talk to you guys into the comments. See you on the next one.
Came in. Are you able to elaborate any more on, you know, what was said in that call and the house he was found in? Was that vacant? Was it occupied?
It's a It's an occupied structure. It's an occupied structure that somebody was in the house with a valid reason and came across. I'm not going to get into where inside the house the body was located, but they came across the body and then immediately called the police.
And what neighborhood was that again?
It was in the 100 block of Sheffield in South Buffalo.
Now, you said it was going to be a homicide investigation. What have you discovered that makes it a homicide?
So I didn't mention in my opening statement, the medical examiner has conducted the autopsy and they have ruled that it is a homicide. I will not get into the manner and cause of death, but it is a homicide. So now it is in the hands of the homicide squad.
Is this something that happened 4 years ago, the homicide?
I can't get into. I don't know the answer to that. The ME is going to have a lot of work to do. All I can say is that the condition of the body shows that it's been deceased for quite some time.
Is the homeowner the same homeowner that would have owned the home in 2020 on Sheffield?
We're looking into everything. I'm not going to confirm that information.
Are anyone currently being interviewed or questions in connection with this?
We've been interviewing a lot of people. When I say we, the detectives have interviewed a lot of people. That will continue. As you see the Crime Stoppers flyer up front, there is that reward that stands. And we are asking anyone with any information, and we've done several things along the way to keep this case in the media, to keep it fresh. And I know some of these organizations put billboards up, kept flyers up, and now that Jaylen has been found, we're hoping that some people will come forward with some other information. But interviews have been, a lot of that has been done, and they will continue to be done.
Any official suspects or persons of interest?
No, I'm not going to get into that right now.
With the special victims unit being involved, is this a sex trafficking thing? Is this...
So the Special Victims Unit, thank you for asking that question. That's why I put it in the open. I'll explain further. Special Victims Unit investigates sex crimes. They investigate domestics. They investigate missing persons. There's a large umbrella. Those are the largest of the things that they investigate. But there's a large umbrella of things that they investigate. So I'm not going to comment on anything beyond that, other than Special Victims Unit investigates a wide variety of cases. Missing persons. That's why I went to them.
Have you been in touch with the family personally?
So, no, not personally. We just got confirmation of this a couple of hours ago. Detective Bentz, along with homicide detectives and a homicide sergeant, went out and spoke with the family about an hour and a half or so ago, maybe a little over almost 2 hours ago. Spent some time with the family. They were made aware that we were going to be doing a press conference, and I have not spoken with them since. We've been preparing to get this information out.
What's the reaction of the family? Are they relieved? Are they sad? I know sad, obviously, but what is the reaction from the family after this long?
Detective Bentz, do you want to address some of that? Or?
Oh, yeah, come up to the podium, please.
Detective Joel Bentz from Special Victims Unit.
They express gratitude for being able to close this chapter, and they understand that another chapter is being started, and that will, comprise of doing further investigations.
And the family, this is obviously, they just found out, the official deceased. It's going to be a tough time for them, right?
I imagine so.
Anyone else?
How rare are these cases where you have a young victim go missing for this long and then obviously turn out to be dead at this point?
I mean, I don't think we've had one in quite some time. I think for this kind of, time frame, I don't recall quite some time where we've had one like this. So,
Just to clarify again, so someone in that home found his body?
someone who had a reason to be in the home, so not a resident, someone who had a reason to be an actual reason to be in the home. Sorry, I'm trying to be a little cautious on how I say it, but someone did have an actual reason to be in the home.
Can you confirm that there were no sightings or anything of Jaylen, recently in this search, or is there anything you can elaborate on that investigation?
We had taken some tips along the way that, people had said that they thought that they had seen him. Without knowing the time frame, but knowing the condition, I think I can say with certainty that it has not been in quite some time. But like I said, in the investigation at the onset, the last known sighting that was reported to us through the investigation was that 2 days before on August 4th. 2020.
And then any reason to believe why he would be a target after leaving to go to the store?
That's, all part of the investigation. So, we hope to bring this matter to a close and turn it over to the district attorney's office where all that will come to light.
Good, guys. Just details on the memorial, if you could.
You want to come to the microphone?
So we will have a candle vigil memorial at the Paderewski Circle, which is Memorial Drive outside of the old train station.